So this week we dive into the government's quiet concessions to global streaming giants, a whistleblower's uphill battle against corporate power, and Australia's contentious arms exports, which may be in violation of the United Nations Arms Treaty. My name is Josh, and for the West Report, let's get into it. So while the mainstream media fixates on election gaffes, the price of eggs, and dressing up whatever Peter Dutton says as news, actually significant stories tend to slip through the cracks. So this is a new segment from the West Report called Media Blind Spot, where we spotlight 3 important stories the major outlets missed, buried, or just ignored. So up first, we have the government's silence that benefits global streamers. The Albanese government's promised local content quotas for streaming platforms quietly missed their 2024 deadline. Despite public commitments, there's been no explanation or transparency regarding the delay. Senator Jackie Lambie suspects undue influence from foreign streaming giants and is pursuing a Freedom of Information request to uncover the truth.
My office was assured by the Minister's office that these Aussie content quotas would be in place by July the 1st last year at the latest. But guess what? Still no local content quotas in place. Just another broken promise from the local party. The streamers have been lobbying the government hard, so I thought it would be interesting to see how deep this lobbying went. So I put in some Freedom of Information requests for the people out there. Guess what I got back? Guess what I got sent back Senator Dunham through the chair? This is on quotas. This is their transparency. This is their promise to the Australian people in the last election. There is nothing.
If properly enforced, local content quotas would require services like Netflix, Disney+, Amazon Prime to invest a minimum percentage of their revenue back into Australian-made content like shows and films. So this would mean that there's more jobs for local writers, actors, crew, more opportunities for emerging talent, and a healthier independent production industry in this country. It's instead of overseas corporations dominating our screens with foreign content and then getting paid through it through licensing and subscriptions. So instead, Australian audiences continue to see a steady decline in locally produced stories, with free-to-air TV offering minimal homegrown drama, except for maybe ABC and SBS, and that leaves global streaming giants under no obligation to fill the gap with Australian-made content. Why would they when they can just put their own up there and make more money? So the government's inaction raises serious concerns about cultural preservation, media sovereignty, and the long-term survival of Australia's creative industries. You can check out the full article by Andrew Gardner on the Michael West website. So while our cultural narratives slip further into foreign hands, those who dare to stand up for public interests are left to fight their own battles, often against the very institutions that should have backed them. So for our second story today, we have the persecution of another whistleblower. Tony Watson, a former Greenwoods and Freehills tax lawyer, who recently lost his home, blew the whistle on Lendlease's $300 million tax rort, exposing how the company double-counted tax deductions on its retirement village assets to inflate profits and avoid paying their fair share. After raising concerns internally and being ignored, Watson took the evidence to the Australian Tax Office, helping save taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars. But now instead of protection, Watson finds himself isolated in court, facing a team of 13 corporate lawyers from Lendlease and PwC. The ATO, despite benefiting from his whistleblowing, has offered no support. His situation is part of a grim national pattern of poor treatment of whistleblowers in this country. A comprehensive review by the Human Rights Law Centre found that every single whistleblower case that was to reach final judgment in Australia has failed. No whistleblower has ever secured a successful ruling under the country's key public or private sector whistleblower protections. We need to start protecting our own whistleblowers. If you'd like to know more about Tony Watson's story, you can check out the full saga on the website. So while individuals like Watson are fighting for accountability, some corporations operate with impunity, even when their actions contravene international agreements. So for our third and final story, we have Australian steel firm's controversial exports. Bisalloy Steel, an ASX-listed company and Australia's only manufacturer of high-strength quenched and tempered steel, continues to export military-grade armed steel used by the Israeli Defence Force despite Australia's obligation under the United Nations Arms Trade Treaty. So an investigation by our very own journalist Yakov Aharon from Michael West Media reveals that Bisalloy supplies steel for covert military vehicles manufactured by Israeli company Plasan Rayem. These modified vehicles, based on Toyota models, are designed for IDF Special Forces operations, fitted with low visibility weapons mounts and blackout headlights for ambush missions. So despite Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's public claim that no Australian weaponry is involved in Gaza, the evidence suggests otherwise. Critics argue that Bisalloy's export meet the legal definition of military goods under the Australian Defence and Strategic Goods list. Bisalloy Steel Group, whose shareholders include former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull and Senator David Sharma, has seen its share price surge since the October 7 Hamas attacks, raising serious ethical concerns about profiteering from an ongoing conflict. So look, the political ties here run pretty deep. In 2017, the then Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull and Ambassador to Israel David Sharma travelled to Israel to sign an arms deal, marking the start of a steep increase in Australia's weapons trades exports with Israel. A trade that is increasingly reliant on Bisalloy's specialty steel at the centre of its supply chain. It's not our job to pass judgment in this segment, but if these allegations were true, I would want the government to investigate this immediately. From battles of streaming giants to courtroom battles for whistleblowers to controversial arms exports, today's stories reveal common thread: powerful interests operating with minimal scrutiny, while transparency, accountability, and ethical standards are left behind. Every story we shared today was uncovered by Michael West Media and our awesome journalists. This is the kind of independent reporting you will not find on the nightly news. For nearly 10 years, we've been exposing corporate misconduct, political failures, and the hidden forces shaping Australia, all without corporate sponsors and funded entirely by our community, which is you guys. So if you value truly independent journalism and want to help us continue producing segments like these, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/thewesreport, or if you want to support our journalism, head over to the website at michaelwest.com.au/support us. We are completely community funded, so your support helps our entire operation keep going. My name is Josh, and this has been Media Blind Spot for the West Report.